You know that feeling when you're just buried in information, like trying to pick something important, maybe figure out higher education options, and you're just wading through endless lists and rankings.
Oh, absolutely. It can feel overwhelming, right? Trying to make sense of it all, especially with global rankings, sometimes you miss the big picture.
Exactly. Well, today we're going to try and cut through some of that for you. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be diving in.
We are plunging into the world of Masters in Management Programs, MIMs, and looking specifically at how they've been ranked globally, say, from 2021 right through to this year, 2025.
Yep, we've got a stack of those ranking reports right here.
We do. And our mission really is to pull out the key insights. What makes a program really stand out? How have schools' fortunes kind of shifted over these years?
Mhm.
And crucially, what numbers, what metrics should you actually pay attention to?
It's about getting past just the headline rank.
Definitely. So let's unpack this. We've got these 5 years of rankings. What's the first thing that kind of jumps out when you look across these lists?
Well, the first thing you notice is, yeah, there's movement, things change, but there are definitely a couple of real heavyweights at the top. Schools that are just consistently there.
Okay, consistent powerhouses. Who are we talking about?
Well, number one, you have to mention the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland. Their consistency is, frankly, remarkable.
Right.
They've been either number one or number two every single year we looked at. Number one in 21, 22, 24, 25, and number two in 23.
Wow. That's steady.
It really is. And it's not just the rank. Their average graduate salary has climbed impressively, too. It went from about, $124,000 in 2021 up to nearly $140,000 by 2025. That's, sustained excellence right there.
Okay, St. Gallen, definitely a benchmark. Who else is up there showing that kind of staying power?
The other one is HEC Paris in France, another really strong, consistent performer.
Hmm.
They've also been swapping those top two spots, number two in 21, 22, and 25, and they hit number one in 23 and 24.
So neck and neck with St. Gallen a lot of the time.
Pretty much. And again, look at the salaries. HEC Paris grads saw their average go from around $114,000 in 21 to over $141,000 in 25. So, yeah, these two are consistently setting a very high bar.
Okay, so those two seem pretty anchored at the very top, but you mentioned movement dynamic lists, I think was the term. So things are shuffling around a bit below them.
Oh, definitely. Even within the top 10, you see schools moving around quite a bit. Take London Business School, LBS, in the UK.
Okay, what about them?
Their rank's been a bit more variable. They were #4 back in 2021, climbed to #3 in 2023, but then slipped a bit to #6 in 2024, and down to #10 in 2025.
Interesting. Down to 10th. Does that mean the outcomes dipped too?
Well, that's what's fascinating. Despite the rank changes, their average salary stayed really strong, consistently over $100, and actually rose to over $122,000 by 2025.
Right. So the rank moved, but the graduate earning power seemed pretty solid, even increasing.
Exactly. It tells you that rank isn't everything. Market perception and graduate success can remain high even if the overall number shifts a little.
That's a really important point. Are there other, maybe surprising shifts? Schools coming up fast or appearing unexpectedly?
Yeah, Instead is a really interesting case. Also French, but known more perhaps for its MBA historically.
Right.
Suddenly, they appear right near the top of the Merriam rankings, #3 in 2024, and holding that at #3 in 2025. But they weren't even listed in the earlier years we have here.
Whoa, okay, so a sudden high entry. What does that suggest?
It makes you wonder, right? What changed? Maybe it's a strategic push, maybe it's incredible graduate outcomes hitting the metrics just right, or even just how they started reporting data. But it shows a program can make a big splash quite quickly.
It really speaks to how the landscape isn't fixed. Anyone else climbing steadily?
Definitely look at Tsinghua University's School of Economics and Management in China. Their rise is really quite impressive.
Okay.
They went from #20 back in 2021, steadily climbed to #6 about 2023, and then cracked the top 5, hitting #4 in 2025.
That's a significant jump.
And outcomes? Really strong. Consistently high average salaries over $90 in 21, climbing past $115K by 25. And crucially, they often report 100% employment within 3 months.
Wow. 100% employed. Can't argue with that.
It really highlights the growing strength and global recognition of top Asian institutions in this space.
So, okay,
Yeah.
we've got the consistent leaders like St. Gallen and HEC Paris, but then quite a bit of shuffling. like LBS, newcomers making waves like Enseta, and steady climbers like Tsinghua. It really proves your point. Just looking at number one doesn't tell the whole story.
Not at all. It's a much more nuanced picture.
Right, and that brings us to, I think, a really critical part of this. The overall rank is just, one number.
Exactly.
If we really dig into these reports, these sources, there's so much more data under the hood. What are the key things, the metrics that seem to consistently make these programs strong? And, why should someone listening care about those details, maybe even more than the final rank?
This is where it gets really practical for anyone considering an MN. Understanding these underlying metrics helps you figure out which program actually fits your goals best.
Okay, so let's break it down. First thing most people probably think about, jobs and money after graduation, salary, employment rates.
Absolutely crucial. Average salary is a big one. And what's interesting here is you look at some of the Indian Institutes of Management, the IIMs, they often post huge average salaries, even if their overall global rank isn't, say, top 5 or top 10.
Really? Like who?
Well, IIM Ahmedabad, for instance. Back in 2021, their average salary was nearly $140,000, and they were ranked hashtag 20 overall. Fast forward to 2025, that salary figure jumped to an incredible $181,000.
181K. Wow. But the rank was?
It was hashtag 34 overall in 2025, so the salary is top tier even if the overall rank isn't number one.
So what does that tell you as a potential student?
It suggests really strong career paths, maybe especially in certain regions or industries where that IIM brand is incredibly powerful. It shows top paychecks aren't only found at the very top of the global list. You need to look deeper.
That's fascinating. So high starting salary is one thing.
Yeah.
What about how that salary grows? Is that tracked?
Yes, salary increase percentage is another key metric. It shows the longer-term value, right? How graduates progress. Warwick Business School in the UK, for example, had a massive 99.6% salary increase reported in 2021.
Almost double.
Yeah, it points to a really strong return on investment over time. And then, of course, there's just getting a job quickly, employed at 3 months.
That seems pretty fundamental.
It is. And the top schools usually nail this. We're talking 90 to 100% employment rates. Tsinghua, who we mentioned climbing the ranks, they consistently hit 100% in our data 2021, 2023, 2025. So for you listening, it means finding a program that has a proven track record of getting its graduates into jobs fast.
Okay, so salary growth, quick employment, check, check, check. Those are pretty tangible career outcomes. But what about the maybe softer side, like the global experience? You can't put a dollar figure on that quite so easily.
That's a great point, and it leads right into international exposure and diversity. This is something the rankings do measure, and it's highly valued.
How they measure it.
They look at things like the percentage of international students, international faculty, even the international representation on the school's board.
And who does well there?
A lot of the top European schools really excel here. Think ESCP Business School, ESSEC Business School, SDA Bocconi in Italy. They often score 100% across these international metrics.
100% international students or faculty?
Well, maybe not 100% students, but very high percentages. And 100% on metrics like international board or faculty diversity is common for them. It reflects a truly global classroom environment.
Which, for management today, seems pretty essential.
Absolutely. Learning with and from people with diverse backgrounds is critical. These metrics tell you if a program really delivers that global perspective.
It's not just what you learn, but who you're learning it with and from.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay, what about the programs themselves? Like, how long do they take? Does that vary much?
It does, actually, and that's another practical thing for you to consider. Many of the top European MIMs are quite short and intensive, often around 8 to 10 months.
Like HEC Paris or LBS?
Exactly. You're in, you're focused, you're out relatively quickly. But then you look at programs in Asia, particularly India, and they can be much longer.
Oh, my.
Sometimes 21 months, even up to 32 months. Like IIM Ahmedabad's main program is a 2-year postgraduate program.
So a big difference, less than a year versus 2 years or more. Why the difference?
It often reflects different educational philosophies or career paths. Maybe you want that shorter, intensive burst to get back into the workforce quickly, or maybe you prefer a longer, more immersive experience for a deeper transformation. There's no single right answer. It depends on your goals. Right. And fitting it into your life plans. Okay, one more metric, the one everyone thinks about with cost. Value for money. How does that play out? Is the hashtag one school always the best value?
Not necessarily. This is where it can get a bit counterintuitive.
How so?
Well, take St. Gallen. Often hashtag one overall, right? But in 2025, its value for money rank was hashtag 16.
Huh. Why would that be?
It could be that top-tier programs often come with higher tuition fees. So even though the salary outcomes are fantastic, the initial investment is also higher, which affects that specific value calculation.
Makes sense. So can you find good value outside the absolute top ranks?
Absolutely. Look at Kosminski University in Poland. In 2021, they were hashtag 59 overall, but their value rank was better, hashtag 47. By 2025, their overall rank was hashtag 54, but their value for money rank was outstanding number 6.
Number 6 for value, while ranked 54th overall.
Exactly. So for you, if getting the best bang for your buck is a major priority, a school like Kosminski might offer an incredible return, potentially better on that specific dimension than a much higher-ranked, more expensive school. Okay, this is huge. It really means you need to decide what your priorities are. Either that absolute top salary right away. Is it the most international crowd? Or is it getting the best value for the money you invest?
Precisely. The best program isn't universal. It's the one whose strengths line up best with what you need and want.
It's about matching, not just chasing the number one spot.
Nice.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. If we look at where these top programs are located geographically, are there clear hotspots? Any regions that really dominate the MIM landscape?
Oh, yes. Europe is still very much a dominant force in the MIM world.
You mentioned St. Gallen in Switzerland, LBS in the UK.
Right. And France is particularly strong. You've got HEC Paris, of course, but also ESCP, ESSEC, MLyon, EDHEC. Loads of really highly ranked French schools.
So France, Switzerland, UK leading the charge in Europe.
Definitely major hubs. But we also saw Tsinghua earlier. That points to other regions stepping up, right?
It does. What about Asia's role more broadly?
It's clearly rising and becoming much more prominent. We talked about Tsinghua in China, but you also see strong performance from places like Shanghai Jiao Tong University, Tongji University. Their ranks have been climbing, and their salary and employment stats are very competitive.
And the IIMs in India we mentioned.
Exactly. Ahmedabad, Bangalore. Luck that they consistently perform well, especially on those crucial outcome metrics like salary. It really shows that the MIM landscape is becoming much more globalized.
So for you, thinking about where to study, the options for high-quality programs are wider than ever. Europe is strong, but Asia is definitely a growing powerhouse.
For sure. And you also see good schools coming from Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, the Nordic countries too. It's broadening out.
Okay, so location matters. The metrics matter. One last little detail I noticed skimming the sources is the names of these programs. They're not all just called Master in Management, are they?
That's a sharp observation. No, they're not.
Yeah.
While Master in Management or MSc in Management are probably the most common, you definitely see variations. Things like MSc in International Management or Master of Global Business. And in India, you often see Postgraduate Program in Management or PGPM, PGDM.
Does the name actually mean much? Or is it just branding?
It can sometimes signal a specific focus. International Management might have more globally focused coursework, for instance. But ultimately, you really need to look past the name on the tin, so to speak. You need to dig into the actual curriculum, look at the faculty's expertise, see what courses are offered. That tells you the real substance of the program, much more than the title itself.
So the name might give you a hint, but you've got to check the ingredients list, basically.
That's a good way to put it. Check the syllabus, check the outcomes. That's what really counts.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. We've covered a lot of ground here in our deep dive on MyZim rankings, 2021 to 2025. What are the main things you should take away from this?
I think the first big takeaway is that the top MIM programs, wherever they are, consistently deliver on those key career metrics. We're talking good salaries, strong salary growth, and high fast employment rates.
Right, the outcomes are generally strong at the top.
And many also prioritize that international dimension, diverse students, faculty, global perspectives. That's clearly valued.
Okay, here else.
While we do see those consistent leaders like St. Gallen and HEC Paris holding steady at the very top, the landscape isn't static. It's dynamic. We saw schools moving within the top 10. We saw sudden entries like INSEAD and really strong climbers, especially from Asia, like Tsinghua and the IIMs.
Which means the definition of a top school is maybe broadening and quality is coming from more places globally.
Exactly. And for you, the listener, the most important thing is remembering that the overall rank is just a starting point.
Yeah, not the finish line.
Right. You need to understand the metrics behind the rank. The salary data, the employment rates, the international mix, the program length, the value for money, and figuring which of those align best with your personal goals and career plans.
So as you sift through all those options for a master's in management, don't just fixate on the number one spot. The real key is understanding which program's specific strengths match your aspirations.
It's about finding the right fit for your unique path.
Which leads us to our final thought to leave you with. Beyond just the headline rank, what truly defines a top management program for you?